Let's go through some reasons to quit your job. This video is brought to you by Email 10K. Learn how to book meetings with billion-dollar brands and take your company to the next level at email10k.com. I have quit 2 jobs in the past. One was too early and set me up for a life of poverty. The other one was at the perfect time and set me up for a life of wealth. The tale of 2 jobs, I call it. Let's tell these stories. One was the Groupon clone. I've talked about this before. It was the first job I got out of New York City. I was cold calling, talking to these local businesses. And at the time, I loved it at first, then I got burned out on it. I'll talk about burnout in another video, but I quit that job and it was too early. And I ended up in a worse situation because of it. Better situation long-term, worse situation in the moment. And the reason why I ended up in a better situation long-term is because I think anytime you leave a situation, you end up better in the long run. So quitting that job and quitting the second job that I'm going to talk about in a second were actually both great decisions in the long run, but in the short run, I could have done some stuff differently before I quit that first job. That probably would have saved me 6 or 7 months of wandering. So that's what I want to talk about in this video. What are the best reasons to quit your job? When should you actually quit? And how can you set yourself up for success in the long term? So I was at this Groupon clone in New York City. I was doing these cold calls and I was just feeling really burned out. I would wake up in the morning and I would hate my job. And I was even Googling things like, I hate my job. So there were very real signals that I did not like the situation I was in. The boss was making us work at all hours. I felt like I had to come in even earlier than our 9 a.m. start time just to get a jump on the workday. And everyone left the office at about 9 or 10 p.m. So I barely had any time after work to do anything. It was bad. It was really bad, and in the moment during the job, I liked it. I would get in flow doing these cold calls. We were doing some cold emailing early on, and I loved that whole process. But all of the other stuff, the long work hours, the not really seeing progress, everything that I'm gonna talk about in the future video on burnout, all of that really added up and made me hate my job, and I wanted to quit. So I did, and it was way too soon. I should not have quit that job when I did. And it was too soon because I had nothing to fall back on. I was giving up this income while living in New York. New York City is one of the most expensive cities in the world, and I had no income. I had nothing to fall back on. And because I quit that job, I ended up having to ask my parents for a loan. Like I had to beg for $3,000, which is fucking crazy, and try to scrape some freelance clients together. I was so excited. I thought I was gonna be an entrepreneur. I thought this was the moment after I quit that job. I was gonna quit and I was gonna become an entrepreneur, and then I had to go get clients. And I realized that I didn't really have the skills to do it. I wasn't that good at marketing at the time. All I could do was cold call, and I wasn't even that good at cold calls. That's why I had to quit. I knew I wasn't that good, and I hated it. So I had no income to fall back on, and that's why it was too soon. I was trying to then build a business with no income, and it failed. I got one client. It ended up being my brother-in-law. I went down to Orlando and started selling marshmallows. And after that, I ended up moving in with my parents for months in Dallas, Texas, until I started the job at that agency. So there was a good 7-month arc where everything was in tumult. I was trying to build a business, it wasn't working. Nothing was working. I had to get that job as a way out. And then I quit that job too. What? But the job was so good. Let me talk about the right reasons to quit your job. So I got the second job at the New York City agency. This is also a company I've talked about in previous videos. This is the one where we hit the Inc. 5000 3 times. I became the director of marketing. We were crushing it. I sold millions and millions of dollars of mobile apps. I was the top salesman above both founders and the director of sales. So what happened? I was crushing it. Why did I quit? Well, one, there was internal politics. No one likes when the young kid destroys you at your own job, right? Second, I don't think I work well at a corporate team because I say stuff like that to them, to their faces. And then the third reason is I wanted to be an entrepreneur deep down. I don't want to work in an office. I don't want to sell for somebody else. I only want to sell my own stuff and build my own company. So even though I'm in this job in New York City and I'm succeeding and it's great, and at the time I was drinking, so I was partying a bunch and it was dope, dude. It was awesome. I knew that I was an entrepreneur and I should be running my own thing. And I'm not gonna take any excuses and let a good situation distract me from that. So I quit. But before I quit, I talked to the CEO and got them to become our first client for X27. They were our first marketing client, and I was able to match my salary with that first contract. Did I get lucky? No. I found the perfect time to quit my job. I waited till we had a major win, then pitched them, became the marketing vendor for them, and I was good to go. I also had other clients, so I wasn't totally reliant on them because I had been coming in for the last 3-4 weeks at 7 a.m. and sending cold emails for 2 hours a day before work started. And I was able to close another couple clients that way. So by the time I had quit the New York City job, I was good to go. I was 100% ready to become an entrepreneur. And as soon as I quit, I moved to Las Vegas from New York. That was it. I love Las Vegas, by the way, one of my favorite cities. And so I was able to live the dream of location freedom. My clients were in New York, I was in Vegas. Nobody was the wiser, nobody cared. Full location freedom. And it's because I quit my job at the right time. So if you're wondering when the right time is to quit your job, the main thing is make sure that you have a solid income already set up. So if you want to be an entrepreneur, get your first few clients while you have a job. If you want to get a better job, you want to be a career person, get a second offer before you quit your first job. That's number one. And then number two, make sure you increase your value at the company. Unless you totally suck, unless you totally hate it, do not quit your job until you've added a case study for yourself. So hitting the Inc. 5000 3 times, becoming the director of marketing, generating millions of dollars in sales, that was an amazing case study. That's what you can build an entire life on. And if I didn't stay into that point, this is the mistake I made the first time, if I didn't stay until I had an amazing story to tell, I would have been right back where I started, having a hard time getting consulting clients, etc. But because I had that amazing story, I was able to use my success at that agency to get more and more clients. And the CEO of that agency actually even recorded a video testimonial talking about how we made him $1 million in extra revenue. Like, he was hyped about it too. So I set myself up in the exact right situation. And that's what you got to do before you quit your job. Make sure you already have an income stream to replace it. That's the biggest thing. This video is brought to you by Email 10K. If you want high-paying clients without spending money on paid ads, you might want to watch this. I'm Alex Berman, and I've been able to grow a services business by over $1 million in revenue and get to work with billion-dollar customers. For instance, you ever built a website for a restaurant? You might get $500. But if you build that same website for a financial services firm, they will pay you $50,000 for the exact same website. And that's what this presentation is all about. So click the link below, enter your details, and check out my presentation. It's already helped hundreds of business owners and even complete beginners. So again, make sure you click the link below and let me help you get started. Are you still wondering what are some other reasons you would quit your job? I know maybe hostile work environment too, like if you're worried about like sexual assault or something, you should probably also quit your job. But I'm talking more about the motivation, passion stuff. So let me know down in the comments, what do you think? What are some reasons to quit your job? What did you get out of this video? Are you thinking about quitting your job? Did this video change your mind in any way? Let's talk about it. Smash that like button to encourage this type of content. Subscribe for more videos like this, and I'll catch you later. We do videos 3 times a week. Thanks for watching. I'm Alex Berman.